You know, being a parent is probably the most rewarding job on the planet, but let's be honest, it can also bring these moments of just intense frustration and stress. So today, we're going to dive into how you can find a little more calm right in the middle of all those family challenges. Okay, so let me start by asking a question that probably hits pretty close to home for a lot of you. Do you ever feel completely overwhelmed? Maybe a little short-tempered, or just stretched so thin you feel like you're about to snap? If you just nodded your head, I want you to know you are so not alone. That is a universal part of parenting. In fact, it's so common that it's helpful to think of modern parenting as being inside a kind of pressure cooker. And the very first step, maybe the most important one, is just acknowledging that this stress is real. It's not in your head, and it has a huge impact on your family's life. And this isn't some vague feeling, right? We're talking about really specific things. That feeling of being short-tempered with your kids over something small, watching a tiny disagreement with your partner just explode into a huge argument, and of course, that constant exhausting juggle between work, home, and just trying to be a good parent. For some of us, you can even add the stress of cultural adjustments or expat life on top of it all. The goal here is just to see yourself in this and say, okay, yeah, that's me. And listen, it's not just you. The environment we're in plays a massive role. If you live in a really fast-paced, high-pressure city, all of those feelings we just talked about can feel 1,000 times more intense. It just turns the heat up on that pressure cooker. So here's something that is absolutely crucial to understand. A parent's stress, it doesn't just stay with the parent. It creates this ripple effect that spreads through the whole family. And once you see that, you'll understand why managing it is so incredibly important. Think about it. Kids are like these little emotional sponges. They are so sensitive to the tension in their home. When they're around frequent arguments or can just feel that a parent is stressed out all the time, it can really start to make them feel anxious and insecure. And what happens is it can quickly spiral into a tough cycle. Your unmanaged stress leads to more conflict, which leads to more stress, and pretty soon you're just emotionally burned out. But here's the kicker. Our kids, they learn how to handle stress by watching us. So they start mimicking those same anxious or angry behaviors. But, and this is a big but, here's the good news. It does not have to be this way. This is the turning point. We're going to shift from talking about the problem to talking about the solution. It's all about getting the right tools for a totally new, much calmer approach to family life. First things first, let's completely reframe the goal here. This isn't about trying to never feel angry. That's impossible. Anger is a totally normal, healthy emotion. The real goal is to get skilled at managing it. It's about learning to recognize what sets you off, getting control over that first gut reaction, and then finding a way to express how you feel constructively, in a way that actually connects you instead of pushing people away. So how do you actually do that? Well, it comes down to learning some very concrete skills. For example, mindfulness. And listen, that's not some fluffy, abstract idea. It can be as simple as learning to take 3 slow, deep breaths before you react to your kid spilling juice all over the floor. These are real actionable techniques that create that tiny bit of space between a trigger and your reaction. Okay, so what does this actually look like in practice, in the middle of a chaotic Tuesday morning? The whole process is designed to help you make one of the most powerful shifts a parent can ever make, moving from an impulsive reaction to a thoughtful response. I mean, this visual just lays it all out so perfectly, doesn't it? On the left, that's the impulsive reaction. It's acting out of pure frustration, escalating arguments, saying things you regret 2 seconds later. And on the right, that's the goal, the thoughtful response. It starts with a pause, a deep breath, maybe a timeout for yourself to cool down. It's about choosing your words. And that right there is the difference between damaging a relationship and making it stronger. Getting from the left side to the right side is a journey, and it's broken down into these really manageable steps. First, you just identify your triggers. What is it exactly that sets you off? The morning chaos, homework battles, you get really specific. Then, you learn the techniques to manage those moments. And finally, and this is so important, you practice. You actually use these new skills in real life, so they start to become your new default. And the best part is, you are not expected to figure all this out on your own. This kind of journey is usually supported by licensed specialists who create a space that is completely safe and 100% non-judgmental. So you can actually be honest about what you're struggling with. So, after hearing all that, you might be thinking, okay, I'm in, but where on earth do I even begin? Let's talk about what that very first step forward really looks like. And I promise, it's simpler than you might be imagining. It really just begins with a single step, a conversation. An initial consultation isn't some scary commitment. It's simply a chance for someone to listen to your experience, to hear what's really going on, and then to work with you to create a plan that's personalized for you and your family. Let's just address the elephant in the room that holds so many people back. It's this feeling of shame, this idea that asking for help means you've somehow failed as a parent. But that could not be further from the truth. Reaching out for support is a profound sign of strength. It shows you're willing to do what it takes for your family. And one last but super important thing to know, any process like this has to be and is completely confidential. That guarantee of a safe, private space is what really allows for genuine growth and healing to happen. So I'm going to leave you with this question to really sit with. Take just a moment and really, truly imagine it. What would a more peaceful home, with less yelling, more laughter, more connection, what could that really mean for your family? What could that feel like for you and for your kids?